Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Joe. Welcome back to an emergency episode of the Inside Our Phillies podcast. This has been a busy morning, busy day in Phillies land as Rob Thomson has been relieved of his duties as the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. Don Mattingly is stepping in and he is going to be the interim manager for the rest of the season. And here to talk all about it, we have Jeremy, SJ Phil's fan. How are you, Jeremy?
It's the best day ever. Best day ever.
I I disagree with that, and also here to talk
I,
about
I, know,
everything.
no, yeah, no. It's not the vet, but it's something. Yeah.
But we also have Giles here to talk about what's been really a crazy day.
Yeah, it's that's a word for it, as Larry would say.
Yeah, yeah. So let's jump right into it, just kind of by going over the timeline of what's been happening. So at around 11 this morning, I was in a call for work, and all of a sudden my phone went crazy. I was like, "What is going on?" And it turned out that Rob Thompson was the one that got fired. Only Rob Thompson. Everybody else on the Phillies, including Kevin Long, is keeping their job for now, at the very least. And with this, it was also announced that Don Mattingly was the interim manager. At the time, I think people thought that Don Mattingly would maybe just be here for a couple of weeks, and that maybe Alex Cora was going to be coming down the wing in a couple weeks' time. But it later got announced that Alex Cora was offered the job of manager, and he turned it down. He didn't have any interest in coming to the Phillies.
Wonder why.
So Giles, let's go to you first. Kind of just like take me through like your thought process throughout the day, and just tell me what you're
I,
thinking.
I mean, I'm just gonna say that in no uncertain terms, I had no degree of thought in my mind that Rob Thompson was going to get fired at all. It's April, okay? It's a bad, what the NFL equivalent of the amount of games that they have played is like slightly under 2 games played so far this season. And like imagine if you had a head coach that was very good in the NFL for 4 years. He has a bad couple of games, and then all of a sudden gets canned. This feels like a we have to do something move, which I've been very vocal that I completely and utterly despise, because those are not usually actually set in rationale of what's actually going to solve problems with whatever you're doing. It's set in what is going to make me or others feel better, and this feels like trying to make the fans feel better about the team and feel like the team is quote unquote doing something about the start, which like I don't know what the fuck Rob Thompson's supposed to do when you have Alec Boehm hitting with like an OPS plus of what, like 10, I think I read from the Tom Verducci article on Sports Illustrated. You have Bryson Stott having the worst year of his career. You have Trey Turner looking like he's in early 2023. He's been time traveled back to that point in time. You have JT Realmuto out with a back injury, so you're playing Garrett Stubbs and Rafael Marchand in the bottom of the lineup every day. And Justin Crawford's BABIP luck, bullshit luck, is finally coming, back to earth here. You only have really 2 or 3 hitters on a good day against a right-hander, and Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, and Brandon Marsh. I don't know what the fuck Rob Thompson's supposed to do about it. Like, is he supposed to wave his wand and go, I have fixed the hitting issues with the team? Like, come on now. And then on top of that, you had, at least at the start of the year, you have Aaron Nola continuing to blow up in what will be a worse contract, I think, than the Nick Castellanos contract in terms of how it harms the team, because it is going to be in place post salary cap. You're going to have the Jesus Luzardo once again, shitting his britches with men on base this season, like, which they can fix because they fixed it last season, but again happening. And then you had Taiwan Walker in the back end of the rotation. So you had essentially 3 useless people in the rotation. And on top of that, none of your bullpen pieces that were supposed to work out were working out, or like Bolin, they're hurt. So I just, it's a stupid move. I'm sorry. It's a stupid move that has no common sense put into it. And I don't want to hear any shit about playoff failures under the Phillies. Because I'm going to go back to the same thing. How is Rob Thomson supposed to make guys like Trey Turner hit in the playoffs? What do you want him to do? And I'll hand this over to Jeremy now because I don't want to take up the whole podcast ranting about this, which I absolutely could if I was left to go uninterrupted.
Okay. Well, first of all, Alec Boehm's OPS plus is 15. Put some respect on that name.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, Alex.
No, but there's many things. One, clearly we keep getting reports out that Boehm is refusing to listen to coaching on improving anything. So if the manager can't get your players to listen, what's the point of having a manager? And I agree, it isn't all on him, but the manager is always the first one to fall in this place because you can't get rid of. We don't have anyone to replace the guys that are shitting the bed. So he was always could be the fall guy no matter what. And it's different than Girardi because we all knew that Girardi was just bad in a different way. But for Thomson, they shouldn't have brought him back if this was going to happen. And two, Kevin Long should have been gone with him at the same time. It's down to keep Long and
I totally agree. If they were going to fire Thomson, just to be consistent, they should have canned Long as well. If you're just going to can Thomson, it just seems like if you're canning Thomson and Long, it seems like, okay, we're totally shaking up the philosophy of the team and we're going to do something different. You're just canning Thomson. It just feels like you're shuffling the damn deck chairs in the Titanic. That's all it feels like.
Yeah, because Don Mattingly hasn't been known as a fiery manager, so if what we want is motivation for the players, I don't think that's really it. The only thing is like they're trying to like the players. You lost your toy, bad. Like I wanted Thomson fired. I'm happy he's gone. I think we need to change, but I just think it's one, ridiculous that they didn't fire Long, and two, that we tried getting Cora, who is by all accounts a prick, and it's just also hilarious. They think he would want to take a job after being fired 3 days ago.
I totally forgot about that. That they tried to hire Alex fucking Cora, that's the nail in the coffin for how bad this is. Like I was already pissed off, and then it's like, no, we want to hire Alex Cora. That'll fix the issue. Let's take our foot out of the bear trap and just fall into the tiger pit. Like, well, I think come on.
Well, it's just not only the fact that they went after him, which I think was a poor choice in the first place for personal reasons, his history. It's also not great as a manager. Like, who wants like a known cheater, right? Like, I think that it's a kind of disaster if you have Cora, but it's even more embarrassing that they tried to get Cora, and maybe they even only fired Thomson because they thought they could get Cora, only to have him turn the Phillies down. Like, it ends up being a complete shit show and an embarrassment for this organization with the way that this worked out.
I want to add to the Alec Boehm point there is that, we've been hearing about this, or at least like inklings of this for years now, that he does not listen to coaches. And, that doesn't change what your underlying point about Thomson, which, we can disagree back and forth hypothetically on that. But Boehm has been saying for like, kind of saying it for years that like, well, if I had to hit for more power, then I'd lose, 30 points off my batting average. I'm a hitter. I'm not a pure slugger and hit home runs guy. And so like that has been his issue his entire career with this team. And he's a less awful Nick Castellanos in that sense, is that he just doesn't listen to coaching. And it's the most infuriating thing ever. And I'm mad that he sucks, and I'm upset that he sucks as hard as he does. I think I am a little relieved that people are realizing how much of a fucking child it seems like he is in terms of trying to learn and improve his game on this team.
Yeah, Joe and I have been like saying this from the beginning, and so we've known.
Oh yeah,
I wanted him gone after 24. And it's just hysterical. Like his whole entire career, he's had one elite first half, and that was in 24, and then
But the spring training, he's like lifting and like pulling the ball and stuff though. He's going to be different this time.
Spring training.
You know what he is? You know what he is? I don't know how many guys have seen the South Park movie. There's a scene in it with Saddam Hussein going, "I can change, I can change." That's Alec Boehm every spring training.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, Bellum right now is sitting at one home run. We're nearing
opening day
of April. Opening day.
I remember you asking me on opening day, how are you feeling about that Alec Boehm contract year? He's gonna,
I know
it's a joke. But
I know.
still.
I mean, it's clearly memeing because just like, well, what if
Oh,
it
I know.
happens?
Wait, guys.
No, yeah, I
He's
know,
gonna finish top 5 in MVP voting. Ruben said so.
yeah. He has 1 home run, 1 pitcher-esque double, and then I don't remember the other double.
It allegedly happened at some point.
Allegedly. No,
Sources say.
But I think kind of what we're talking about with Bohm and with everything else, like, at least for me personally, the blame almost entirely falls on Dave Dombrowski. Dude,
Mhm.
Yep.
I'll be honest, I'm okay with getting rid of Thomson. I completely disagree with the way that they've gone about it
Yes.
and the way
Oh,
that
yeah.
seems like it's a complete mess inside of the Phillies. But whatever, I can get over.
Can I add something to that real quickly?
Yeah, of course.
I would have been okay if they did this the way they did it with Girardi, where they took it to like end of May, early June, and then they shit canned Thompson. They were
Sure.
still playing like shit after this coming up stretch against a bunch of really bad teams. Fine, whatever. Okay. I might still kind of disagree with it on a fundamental basis because I don't think the managers are that impactful. And I think 2022 was a gigantic outlier in terms of the impact of firing a manager, and especially it just being positive in general. But I would have been a lot more sanguine about it then than I am now. Right now, it feels like, oh my God, pull the panic lever. Holy cow, the house is burning down. That's what it feels like when you're doing it this early into the season.
Sure.
Yeah,
Without
I
a
also think
doubt.
it's hysterical. I was hoping they would rename Harry the K's back first.
Yeah. Can we really say that the Phillies tried everything?
Yep.
I mean, Dylan
Harry
Moore
the
still
Case,
is on the
sponsored
team.
by Ghost Energy.
I know. I'm saying we should have become a Ghost Energy sub.
Jesus. God. They might have actually found where Joe lives and then come and crucified him if he did that. You know that, right?
Hey, don't give people ideas. I feel like I'm on
No.
on the boundary of that
I
happening
know.
already.
Well, okay. Well, we already agreed that we're changing it to a horse subreddit if we're not fixed in a couple weeks. So if in a couple more, so we need all these ideas for until we start winning consistently.
My favorite thing, Jeremy, I don't know if Joe told you this, was I was scrolling on Instagram as one does, and a thing popped up from some Phillies page, and it was all the Phillies subreddit is not allowing any new Phillies posts and only ones about Wawa, which is just false. And then like one of the top comment is like, even worse, the mod's name is Seahawks Joe.
Oh man, you
Oh
gotta
boy.
love it. I've gotten used to getting that side of things for years now. I think it just is par for the course. But I mean, this whole thing. You asked me this when we were kind of getting ready to record, Giles, but like this feels like this was something the Phillies did emotionally to try to make fans happy, and it's just having the complete opposite reaction, right?
Mm-hmm. It feels like they're trying to appease the WIP crowd, as I call them. And listen, I'm not saying all WIP listeners are idiots or anything like that, but generally, like the stereotypical WIP caller that calls in, bitches because Kyle Schwarber doesn't have a high enough batting average, and then leaves, right? And they don't really follow the team that much. They don't follow any kind of nuance about the team. They just see team losing, assume the manager is like the head coach, and therefore the manager should be fired.
Yeah.
Or the manager has the same effect as the head coach. And
Yeah,
it feels like John Middleton, he's been getting pressured because of, the failed Bo Bichette signing, which I don't think they should have signed Bo Bichette, especially for the amount that the Mets signed him. And then over the, rightful things like the ridiculous increase of ads in the ballpark, not putting the clock back after the All-Star game is done, and instead putting an ad there, changing Harry the K's over, and like all these little things pissing fans off at John Middleton, and John Middleton's like, oh, I gotta get some kind of fan goodwill back. And this is entirely speculation, but that's what it sort of feels like right now. Is it feels like they're throwing a piece of meat out to appease the sharks.
yeah. But I wanted Thompson gone, but not because I don't think he's a good guy. I nothing against him. Like Girardi, we all, but like I didn't like the energy he created in the clubhouse, and just the
That's
constant of
fine
like,
if you believe that.
yeah, like the cons. Oh, we'll figure it out. We got blah blah blah. We'll figure it out. No, I don't want that. No, I want it figured out. Like I don't want it. Like, oh, we know it, but no. What are you doing to fix things? What what is going on with some of these guys that are just incapable of making good at bats?
And like,
what do you do? What is going on to fix that?
like I'm not saying I'm against that kind of thing. I'm against the sort of,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah.
anytime anything goes south, it's automatically the manager's fault. We got to fire the manager crowd. That's the kind of people I'm
I
pissed
mean,
at.
it
Just
was right.
clarifying.
I mean, wait until all the articles come out about how much Thomson was killing puppies.
Oh yeah, and
bringing in night walkers. Man.
yeah,
I heard.
Rob Thomson was literally Satan, actually, in disguise. We've pulled the mask off, and it is Satan.
Yeah.
Rob
I mean,
Thompson. Yeah. Rob Thompson pisses on Harry Giles' grave. Don't you know this?
Jesus Christ. That sucks.
this whole thing
It's baffling.
is just it's baffling and it's a disaster. We're recording this before the press conference that the Phillies are going to have with the media at 2:45. But is there anything that would make you guys feel better about everything? Because for me, I don't think there is anything. I'm going to go on a long rant about Dave Dombrowski soon, but I want to make sure you all.
I want to.
can-
Okay, good. Let's have each of us get our piece in about Dave Dombrowski before you do
Oh
that.
yeah,
Like,
I'll go first. Mine's the simplest. I mean, mine's the simplest. Yeah, no, he needs to be gone. All his freaking 1-year rentals have sucked. Probably his only good signings are the first Schwarber deal and I mean, I liked the Duran trade.
The original Luzardo signing was pretty good.
Oh yeah, that was
a trade. That was a trade. Never mind, that was a trade. That
yeah,
was
that was trade. I'm pretty not trade. Like, so his trades have been pretty good.
Yeah, so here's the thing: is he is the inverse of Matt Klentak. Okay, Matt Klentak was kind of pretty good at the big free agent signings. I don't remember like a really big free agent signing outside of Arrieta that Klentak really, bombed on. Even Arrieta wasn't.
Well, and Arrieta wasn't
that awful. It was only 3 years. Yeah, it wasn't.
It was not bad, and it was to signal we're spending money and to get Boris's goods.
Yes.
It was a diplomatic move, and also Arrieta wasn't completely garbage.
Until 2020, but I will concede that. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, but 2.4 WAR his first year, 0.7 more his second. He wasn't even negative in 2020, so he was still serviceable, and so it wasn't like he was bogging down the payroll. So
the big hit against Klentak was that he could never make those little under the radar moves in the middle of the season, especially for like relief help or pitching help in general. And it felt like, hey, we got this random scrub with a 6 ERA. Woohoo! We fixed the bullpen, guys. And with Dombrowski, obviously, it's been a lot better with those sort of under the radar moves. And the issue is these just god awful fucking contracts, and the more and more I think about them, the more and more I turn on Dombrowski. So first off, I'm going to start off the positives about Dave Dombrowski because, like, I think to have an honest conversation, we have to admit that there is a lot that he has done that is good for this team. The winning culture, I think, really came back once he came in here. He did have an actionable plan to actually get them out of mediocrity, which I don't think anybody felt like was happening under Klentak. And it was just like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to overhaul this. And then we're going to go and spend a metric fuck ton of money. And a lot of it was not well spent. I will preempt that. But, there was a plan in place there. And then the overhauling of the minor leagues, they can at least develop pitchers now. Okay. They can at least sometimes fix or develop pitchers. They have not learned to do position players yet. That is still garbage and horrifying and awful. But they have at least been able to develop pitching in-house occasionally now. The big issue are these goddamn extensions and the lengths of some of these contracts. Like the Schwarber contract does not need to be 5 years. There's no world where that should be a 5-year contract. The Nola contract was an utter idiotic idea to be a 7-year contract from the moment it was signed. And that is as somebody who was willing to sell Citizens Bank Park to not watch Nola play for the fucking Braves. Okay. I was pro keeping Nola from signing with the Braves. The Turner contract, I'm not as hostile on. They had a choice between, I think it was Carlos Correa, Dansby Swanson, and Trey Turner, and they had a gaping hole at shortstop that they had to fill in a win now window. It was a deal with the devil. You're going to get 3, 4, 5, maybe good seasons out of Trey Turner, and then he's going to fall off the map. but you're going to get a really excellent baseball player. I can see both sides on it. Then you have the Taiwan Walker deal, just obviously stupid. So like everybody with a sense saw this deal and went, that is a bad idea and it's going to explode in their faces, and it did almost immediately after the first season, and even before the first season was over. He fell apart at the end of that first year. People forget about that. So much so that he never pitched in the playoffs. And then you have the Nick Castellanos deal, which feels like if the Raul Ibanez contract didn't work out somehow for the Phillies by some miracle in 2009, which Joe mentioned in a previous I think podcast, how lucky Ruben was that contract worked out. You sign in this case, a guy in his early 30s to a 5-year contract who's only ever been really good his entire career and given him $100 million. And he had just recently, when we signed him, had an abhorrent 2020. You can argue it's because of COVID, whatever. It was abhorrent. And you're like, whatever. He had this massive outlier year last year. Let's sign him. And then the outfield has never been fixed. It's just, there are so many it's death by 1,000 cuts with me and Dombrowski. It is not like Clentak where it's like one glaring thing with him. It is 1,000 cuts with Dombrowski. There's so many areas to look at that I'm against him now.
So
okay, I'm done.
I'm going to go off a little bit now. The extensions are definitely the worst part of Dombrowski, and it's going to be something that fucks this team up for a really long time. I see some people online saying that, maybe 2026 is done for their hopes at this point, but there's always 2027. And
there isn't.
Yeah, look at the guys that are getting money next year. Look at how much money they're getting.
I don't think there's going to be baseball next year, but yeah.
Sure. Assuming there is baseball next year. But, I mean, in a bigger picture, this could really kill baseball in Philadelphia again, with a labor stoppage in 2027 combined with the disaster of this year. There's disasters.
Imagine how bad this team looks coming after a lockout year if we don't play baseball in 2027.
Yeah.
Imagine his core, everybody's 35 in 2028, and they still have 3-4 years at best left on their contract. I just want everybody to imagine that real quickly. It can get really bad really, really fast. I'm sorry, just interrupting.
Here's a list I got from Matt Gelb. Got to give credit to Matt Gelb on this one. Everybody should listen to his podcast. This comes from the group on there. But this is a list of the 1-year major league free agent contracts signed by the Phillies under Dave Dombrowski. I'm going to read out this entire list. Adolis Garcia, David Robertson, Joe Ross, Max Kepler, Jordan Romano, Whit Merrifield, Spencer Turnbull, Colby Allard, Josh Harrison, Craig Kimbrell, Brad Hand, Odubel Herrera, Jerry's Familia, Johan Camargo, Corey Knebel, Brad Miller, Matt Moore, Chase Anderson, Archie Bradley. There's a couple hits here. Kimbrell was effective in the regular season. Sure, you can point to a guy like Archie Bradley or Brad Miller and say that they did their job. But by and large, this has been a complete waste of money that Dave Dombrowski has spent on almost all of these guys. You look at the extensions.
Wait, you said Dombrowski, Brad Miller? That wasn't Dombrowski.
Yes, it was.
Oh, he came back.
Brad Miller was here.
Oh,
he
came back.
I
forgot he came back.
Bamboo Brad, the bamboo hats.
Yeah, but he was. Dombrowski wasn't. I mean, Miller wasn't bad.
No, he wasn't. We're saying he was a hit. He did his job.
He was one of the few hits, probably.
Yeah.
But by and large,
I discount Chase Anderson and Matt Moore because that was still sort of when they were trying to stay under the tax. But Joe and I have talked about this, so
sure.
It's just there's no real.
But the problem is when they keep they kept Chase Anderson for 14 games. He pitched in 14 games. Clearly, he was.
Yeah. We don't need to reiterate Chase Anderson. We can leave that in the dustbin.
The extensions are the worst part of Dave Dombrowski. We're already feeling it with Aaron Nola. We're going to feel it with Kyle Schwarber. We're going to feel it with JT Realmuto. Bryce Harper is going to be at a point pretty soon where he's not giving you much production. Same with Trey Turner. I think almost up and down. Who knows with Luzardo? I think we mostly feel good about him, but there's a real downside risk there. The Phillies are at a point where they might be paying upwards of $150+ million on very little production. And that is not how you build a winner. That's not how you build sustainably. And kind of speaking towards sustainability, the way that you kind of can fight against those contracts is by having young talent in your pipeline
Yep.
that you can call up and pay them the league minimum and kind of get outsized value that way. But where is that value? It's nowhere. Justin Crawford is maybe okay, but he's kind of in a bad streak right now. He might not be able to actually play center field. I think people generally feel not great about Crawford. You look on the pitching side, Painter is really the one guy left, and who knows what to make of him. The pitching development, to your point, Giles, is okay, but I think nobody feels good about the hitting development
No,
of the
absolutely not.
Phillies, and they
Absolutely
shouldn't. The drafting and developing of this team is still, I'd say, below the major league average. So you have, a team that has a well above average amount of bad contracts and a below average amount of young talent coming up in the pipeline.
Can I add,
And
like, just an aside
Is that
here?
is that wrong?
This?
Is that wrong?
Can I add an aside to this? Is that people who are upset about the lack of minor league talent right now? And you can say whether these players haven't worked out, and that we traded away and we didn't lose anything. Remember how many guys we have traded away under Dave Dombrowski in the minor league system. Like
yeah,
Mick Abel right now is doing pretty well in Minnesota. Last I checked. And like that would be a cheap arm right now to have in the rotation. But where do you put him? That's the question. Whatever. Just an example. And Ben Brown looked halfway competent from last I saw as a reliever with the Cubs. So, and listen, whether you want to be for or against win now moves like the ones Dombrowski has made, this is part of the consequence of it, is that your minor league system becomes empty and barren, and the future looks like shit. That is why people like me were for months and frankly years screaming against the sell all the prospects thing or any prospect with value. And I think the Duran trade, which everybody heralded as like, oh, great move for Dave Dombrowski. I think people are going to look back on that trade and they are going to be horrified at how awful it is. I do not think the return is going to be remotely worth what we gave up for Johan Duran. And that's not a hit on Duran. It is that relief pitchers are not that valuable. And we've traded away so much minor league talent, and there's basically, it's like every time we draft, it's like we give them or sign a player internationally, we give them a couple of years to develop, and then we trade them away. That's what it's been like since
I
22.
mean, the jury's most of these trades. I mean, Logan O'Hoppe has been under replacement level 2 years now.
I mean, is that him or is
does
that
not
because the Angels suck? Like,
It doesn't matter. He's
I
not
agree.
great defensively. And yeah, I mean, Abel's already having elbow injuries and stuff. Like I disagree that we've traded away talent. As even if going back from when we got to 2012, like, oh, we traded our talent. Everyone we traded from 06 to 2012 was garbage, except for Darno, but who never really became a super. He was always constantly injured. So one guy. So I disagree with that. We can't draft or develop anyone.
Mm-hmm. I agree with both angles. I see both sides here. Both have, I think, some level of validity to them.
and here's one more thing about Dave Dombrowski that I kind of want to say, because I think there's one thing that he does well that I kind of want to be fair and give him credit. He is good at convincing John Middleton to spend money.
Yes.
For whatever reason, I think John Middleton is foolish for doing this. He trusts Dave Dombrowski, even though Dombrowski is throwing this franchise into the toilet for a long time, and he has gotten he's gotten Middleton to open up his checkbook in a way that he has not been able to before. But here's one of my big takeaways. I think Dave Dombrowski is a worse general manager, president of baseball operations, whatever you want to call it. I think he's worse than Matt Klentak at this point, if I'm being honest with you. The dude, like I said, is not fixed drafting and development. He has so much money tied up long term. This culture at this point is something that you have to have questions about with the Phillies. It seems like it's a little bit group thinky. And it seems a little toxic if this is the end result of how everything's gone. I think Dave Dombrowski is worse than Matt Klentak.
I think the game's.
Yep.
I think the game's passed him by.
I have to agree at this point. I've been saying for years, frankly, that Matt Klentak is greatly underappreciated as general manager or president, whatever his official status was. Matt Klentak was greatly underappreciated and still is underappreciated for what he did here. The JT Real Muto trade might be, it's close with Bobby Abreu to being the best trade in Phillies history. Oh, Steve Carlton is obviously, but outside of Steve Carlton,
Sure.
one of the best trades in Phillies history. Like they traded, I want people to just remember, we traded Jorge Alfaro and Sixto Sanchez for JT Real Muto at 28 years old.
Yep.
Like, holy mother, like of God, how did we do that? How did we convince the Marlins? Hey, here's a bag of broken bones and shit. Take it and give us those gold bars over there and give them to us. That's basically what we did.
Sixto was the top pitching prospect in baseball.
He was, but he was also injury prone, which is why I said a bag of broken bones.
No, he wasn't injury prone yet.
There were injury concerns about Sanchez and his
Body.
ability
To
hold up.
Still, no, see, you're already saying, we traded someone very high who to be garbage. So you're already shifting your argument. We did not. Sanchez.
Oh.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah, no, everyone was like screaming high. Like, my dad was screaming like, "Oh my God, we can't believe trade Sixto, blah blah blah," and then boop, nothing.
I will admit to being wrong on Sixto Sanchez. I will fully, wholeheartedly admit I was shocked about that trade, frankly, when it happened. But
Yeah.
I was wrong, and in hindsight, it is one of the better trades the Phillies have ever made. And then he signs Bryce Harper to what is now a steal of a contract. Get Bryce Harper for $24 million or whatever it is a year, $25 million a year, basically. It was and is a steal. And I don't know how he pulled that off. And from what I remember, that was a lot of it was John Middleton. So we have to remember that Bryce Harper is probably largely here because of a lot of what John Middleton did.
Yes, you can't put that's not a Klentak thing, right? That's definitely I think.
Yeah, that's a Middleton thing, but Klentak did help drop the contract, I'm sure. And then you had the Zach Wheeler signing, the first Aaron Nola extension. Everybody forgets about it, but that was absurdly cheap. It was like 5 years, $75 million or something. Was I think the first Aaron Nola extension to buy out his arbitration years and such. And then of course the Zach Wheeler contract is just there's no words for how good that contract was for this team. So like like I said, the big issue with Klentak was rounding out the roster, and that was kind of it. Like I really don't think Klentak was like he didn't fuck the franchise for 5 years.
Right. I mean, I think like the biggest complaint against Klentak was that maybe it was like a little bit sloppy, unprofessional. I don't know what you want to call it, but something to the effect of it not being major league looking.
Yep.
But
I think Gabe Kapler really ruins the image of the Klentak regime for a lot of people, and even then, I contend Gabe Kapler wasn't like the Antichrist or something.
Sure.
The 2018 and 2019 teams had no business being around 500. I don't think, with their so-called rotations that they had each year. Like what was the 2019 team's rotation? It was like Aaron Nola, Jake Arrieta, Vince Velasquez, Nick Pivetta, and some other schmuck was on the rotation. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Yeah.
And that team got to 500 somehow. So, and Hector Neris is closer. So, say what you want. Like you may not have liked them personally or the way they went about doing things, but I don't think they were as bad as people remember them. And I think that long term they are going to be massively less harmful to this team than Dombrowski is. And I will also add that this is Dombrowski's MO. It has always been his MO that he comes in, spends a shit ton of money. The team's really good for 4 or 5 years, and then it falls off the cliff.
Yeah,
like we knew what we were getting into. That's all I'm gonna say. We knew what we were getting into.
Sure. Yeah. I know this press conference is getting close to starting. We're probably going to learn a lot more quite soon. But does anybody else have anything else that they want to say before this press conference? Anything else on your side, Jeremy?
No. I mean, if this is like the only change to make today, that's freaking ridiculous. Lamar still has no hit. Yeah.
It would be great if they came out today and they lost. Like, it wouldn't be great. I would hate it because I hate seeing the team lose. But it would be kind of funny if they came out and lost like 12-0 today.
Oh, right.
Like commit like 3 errors.
No. Get perfect gamed. It will be hilarious.
Oh Jesus Christ! Perfect gamed. Schwarber pops his Achilles. We speed run the mid 2010s. We just speed run that shit.
Are we that cursed? We might be.
Oh, come on. We absolutely are. It's the fucking Phillies. Like, we finally get a good positional prospect in Aiden Miller and his back explodes. Like, come on.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And we finally get a top pitching prospect in all of baseball, and then his elbow blows up. Like, this team is cursed. This team has always been cursed. I contend that always assume the worst thing that can happen is going to happen to this baseball team.
Yeah.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
All
Your
right.
first thought when Teoscar came up wasn't he's hitting a 3-run homer, then I don't know what was going through your head.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap up then. Thank you both for listening. Thank you to everybody. Thank you both for being part of the podcast, and thank you to everybody for listening. We will be back at some point. Definitely by the end of the series. Maybe we'll get something out in the middle of the series, depending on what else is going on in Phillies land. But till then, talk to y'all later. Thanks for listening.
Bye.